Good evening. Welcome to this press briefing on our annual results for the year 2015-16. I'll quickly run through the financial highlights. Tata Motors consolidated results for Q4. Net revenue up to 80,000 crores compared to 68,000 crores in the same period last year. For the full year, revenues came in at 275,000 crores compared to 263,000 crores last year. EBITDA margin for the year came in at 14.6 and for the quarter it was 15.4. I'll explain this in greater detail in terms of exceptional items. Both are up. Q4 of last year was 13.6 and up to 15.4. For the full year it was 14.6 compared to an exceptionally good year we had last year at 16% EBITDA margin. Profit before tax, before exceptional items, for the quarter was 5,957 crores, up from 2,900 crores in the same quarter last year. 16,000 crores for the full year, down from 21,000 crores in the previous year. Profit before tax, after all exceptional items, was 6,561 crores, slightly higher this quarter, compared to 2,771 crores in the corresponding quarter of the previous year. For the full year, 14,000 crores, down from 21,000 crores. Net automotive debt equity as of March 2006 was negative 0.01, representing net automotive cash at consolidated level of the automotive operations. Profit before tax for Q4 of this year and for the full year includes certain one-time reserves and charges of 1,580 crores, equivalent to about 166 million pounds. Mainly including industry-wide product recall in the US of potentially faulty airbags supplied by one of the suppliers, TATA, certain doubtful debts which we have provided for, and previously capitalized investment of product development expenses which we have decided to charge off in the current quarter. Happy to announce the Board of Directors of Tata Motors recommended a dividend this year, modest 10%, and you may recall that we had skipped dividend in the last year. Coming to the India business, net revenue for the quarter stood at 12,500 crores, up from 10,700 crores in the same quarter last year. For the full year, 42,000 crores compared to 36 in the previous financial year. EBITDA margin for the quarter came in much higher at 8.1% compared to 2.8% as we ended the year last year in the last quarter. For the full year, EBITDA margin was 6.5, and you'll recall for the full year last year, EBITDA margin was negative. So it's a complete turnaround in terms of the EBITDA performance of the company. Profit before tax, before exceptional items in Tata Motors, was about 399 crores compared to a loss for this quarter, compared to a loss of about 1,000 crores in the same quarter last year. For the full year, profit before tax, before exceptional items, was about 514 crores compared to 3,500 crores last year. Skip the PBT, you can read out the lines later. Profit after tax for the quarter came in at 465 crores compared to a loss of 1,164 crores in the previous year's last quarter. For the full year, profit after tax came in at 234 crores positive compared to 4,700 crores negative, there is loss last year. At Tata Motors India business level, the net debt to equity was 0.61. Jaguar Land Rover, net revenue for the quarter, this is in British pounds, 6.5 billion pounds, 6.6 billion pounds, up from 5.8 billion pounds in the same quarter last year, and 22 billion pounds, up from 21.8 billion pounds in the previous year. EBITDA margin before one-time charges, which I briefly mentioned earlier, came in at 1 billion, almost the same, slightly higher compared to the same quarter last year. For the year, the EBITDA was 3.3 billion pounds, down from 4.1 billion pounds in the previous year. EBITDA percentage for Jaguar Land Rover in the fourth quarter before these exceptional items was 16.2%, and for the full year, 14.9%. EBITDA after these adjustments came in at 900 million pounds, profit before tax 519, and profit after tax 472 million pounds for the current quarter, and for the full year profit after tax came in at 1.3 billion pounds. Net automotive debt in net debt to equity in Jaguar Land Rover continues to remain strong, negative of 0.28, representing positive net cash after our debt obligations. We had a strong free cash flow in the current financial year which just ended, with a positive cash generation of 791 million pounds, which is after the capex and product development investment spending of 3.2 billion. So the cash flow generation is after this capex. In the balance sheet, as of March 2016, we have cash and equivalent liquidity of 4.7 billion pounds and a further liquidity access of 1.9 billion pounds in terms of committed lines of credit. Drilling down to the India business performance, in Q4, in India business, we reported a significant improvement in the operating margin to 8.1%, which is an improvement of 530 basis points year on year, broadly driven by strong medium and heavy commercial growth year on year and Q on Q. We have begun to see LCV growth as well in this quarter. Exports of CV grew at 20% plus, and result of ongoing cost reduction and margin improvement initiatives within the company. That is as far as Tata Motors India business is concerned. As far as Jaguar Land Rover is concerned, before the one-time reserves and charges, the margin was about 16.2%, which is a significant improvement over the prior quarters in the same year. Solid EBITDA margin before one-time reserves and charges in Q4, which I briefly explained earlier. We also had certain unfavorable foreign exchange in this quarter. For the year, in the India business and commercial vehicles, the medium and heavy commercial vehicle industry continued to be supported by infrastructure spending and improved profitability of operators, fleet replacement demand kicking in. The M&HCV segment of the company grew by about 27% year on year, which is a solid growth. And domestic market share for the year ended at 52%. LCV segment, as I said earlier, started showing growth trend from Q4 of FY16 with a growth of about 12% year on year in the quarter. Variable marketing expenses, however, continue to remain high in the industry. For the company, the Q4 which just ended saw certain important and exciting events, additional orders for high mobility vehicles for the Indian Army, successful completion of Season 3, third year of T1 Prima truck racing event. We got a contract to supply 25 diesel series hybrid buses, electric buses with full low floor configuration. We announced strategic partnership with Bharat Forge and General Dynamic Land Systems for the FICV program, and all new mega and a couple of product launches, including the new Signa range. Passenger vehicle industry witnessed a growth of about 2.2% in the quarter, mainly on the back of new launches from the various OEMs. In domestic market, passenger vehicle segment of the company actually degrew by about 32% in Q4 due to delay in launches of the most awaited new hatchback, the Tata Tiago. Export of passenger vehicles increased by about 64%, although from a small base. We unveiled future range of passenger vehicles at Auto Expo 2016, new hatchback Tata Tiago, which was unveiled in the auto show, new sporty compact sedan, project codenamed Kite 5, which is to follow. Production ready. We also have the lifestyle, we also displayed the lifestyle SUV Hexa in automatic and manual variants and compact SUV Nexon. All these were displayed in the Auto Expo, which will come in the coming quarters. Jaguar Land Rover, volumes excluding China JV, wholesale and retails for the Q4 were about 150,000 and 146,000 respectively. In addition, China JV wholesale and retails for the quarter was about 12,000, both wholesale and retail. Q4 again saw a very strong free cash flow for the company of about 1.4 billion pounds after investment spending in this quarter of about 742 million pounds. Strong retail sales were witnessed across all regions. North America up 24%, UK up 23%, China up 19%, Europe up as much as 55%, and other markets about 15%. You may recall in the 2 quarters earlier, we had mentioned about taking a provision of about 240 million pounds for the cars affected or destroyed by fire in the Jiangyin port in China. We have received since then insurance claims in the previous quarter and the current quarter, and we have taken the credit for that against the provision we had taken in the previous quarters. Share of profits from the China JV for the quarter was about 49 million pounds, which is our share for the quarter. A picture of recent and upcoming products to drive further growth in Jaguar Land Rover. In Jaguar Land Rover, the other strategic developments involve around autonomous vehicles, connected cars, an in-motion business unit to develop innovative solutions aimed at overcoming future travel and transport challenges. The presentation will be available on the website, so you can go through it in greater detail when you have the time. We are also focusing heavily in JLR on environmental friendliness of our vehicles, meeting the various norms, including efforts at lightweighting, powertrain right sizing, and electrification of our vehicles. Going forward in commercial vehicles, we expect medium and heavy commercial growth is expected to remain buoyant in the coming financial year, supported by continued replacement demand and further aided by fleet expansion demand. We expect the buses and the LCV segment, including small commercial vehicle, to witness positive growth in the coming financial year, or in the current financial year, 16-17. We have a wide and compelling product range, which we have shared in the earlier occasions also with you, with several new launches in FY17, which we believe provides a very strong foundation for future growth. We'll continue to focus on exports and grow the international business aggressively. Company has a good pipeline of defense orders, both received and in pipeline. In passenger vehicles, product momentum to continue from Tata Motors with existing, recently launched and upcoming new products. Tata Zest and Tata Bolt and GenX Nano, new sporty compact hatchback Tata Tiago, and compact sedan Hexa and Nexon. Exciting and new generation model launches are expected to drive further growth in the future years. Product plan till 2020 has been finalized, which we have shared with you earlier, and we are pursuing the same strategy. And we expect there will be 2 new vehicle launches every year from now on. And we will continue to avail overseas market opportunities as and when they arrive. Jaguar Land Rover, the fundamental strategy remains the same. We will continue to invest in new products, technology, as well as manufacturing capacity to grow profitably. We expect investment spending to be in the region of about 3.75 billion in the current financial year 2016-17, up from about 3.3 or 15-16. We will continue to drive strong operating cash flow to fund this investment requirement. Given continuing investment, free cash flow could be negative for this year, but we expect with a strong balance sheet, which I mentioned earlier, of 4.7 billion pounds of liquidity and cash on the balance sheet, and further access to liquidity through committed lines of credit of close to about 2 billion pounds, we remain strong to meet our future requirements. We'll continue to build on the recent successful product launches with the ramp-up of general retail sales of the Jaguar F-Pace, XE in the US, XF long wheelbase in China, and Evo convertible in the coming months, and future new model launches which are yet to be announced. These new products are expected to drive growth, which we expect will continue to be profitable going forward in JLR. With this, I'll conclude my brief presentation, and with all my senior colleagues, we will take whatever questions you may have.
Thanks, CR. I invite Mr. Gunther Butschek, the CEO and MD Tata Motors, Dr. Ralph Speth, CEO, MD JLR, and Mr. Ravi Pishro, the Executive Director, Tata Motors. And keeping with tradition, Sid, do I look to you to open, please? Sid, we've come to bank on you to open now. Ralph is expecting a China question.
Ralph, I was looking at a couple of things. One is about the Takata recall. How many units do you expect to be affected by this? And when would this recall take place? And sort of what sort of time frame? And also, what is your outlook on JLR going forward?
Two very interesting questions. First, let's start with this kind of automotive recall, because Takata is really across all brands, really in the automotive world. There is at the moment a discussion in US going on. What kind of time frame has to be considered and which kind of parts have to be recalled? We assume that it goes up for Jaguar Land Rover without having any incident, without absolutely being on the safe side for our customers. I really would like to emphasize that we will have to recall around about 100,000 units of the former XF product. Second question concerning China. China is really coming back, so that will be also the forecast. And I'm cautiously optimistic that we can continue around the world with a really very nice distributed sales distribution. So we are looking based on a good economy, based on a not fragile economy, so that not all of a sudden black swans come around the corner, that we also can continue in a very good way. And by the way, you have seen the vehicles. Are they not stunning?
Thanks, Ralph. Okay. Yes, Utkarsh.
Ralph, just wanted to check, have you got any tax incentives from JLR UK this time?
Tax incentive for whatever?
From the government?
For what?
Because normally there's a yearly tax incentive which you get from the UK government. Is that something like that in the balance sheet this time?
Yeah, you can take it. That's the regional growth fund probably.
Yeah, we do have certain tax credits in UK, which is mainly related to our R&D spending and job creation. But nothing very specific or significant in the quarter to mention.
Sorry about it.
Okay. Yep, Swaraj.
Yeah, there are some concerns raised over whether or not Britain will remain in the EU. Will JLR's investment be determined by the voting that Britain does in a few days' time?
That's a very political question, and I'm German, by the way, and as German, I really also have to take care about the democratic process. Now, from my point of view, and that's poor personal, from my point of view, the current discussion about Brexit is by far too one-dimensional, just reduce on economical issues. From my point of view, it's more. From my point, it covers political issues, social issues, but also military issues and relationship issues. And I had, in my generation, unbelievable luck to live in peace. And I really would like also to give this kind of gift to my kids and all the young generation, and I'm also prepared on a private basis also to make a contribution to that.
Yeah, Alex.
I'm going to speak about the Indian business. You mentioned that you expect... Sir, can you hear me? I'm going to speak about the Indian business. I want to hear about the CV business from Mr. Pisharudi. You mentioned in your presentation, sir, that you expect demand to remain buoyant. What is the expectation really as far as the sales growth is concerned? Are we likely to continue to see 30-odd% growth in M&HCVs? And where do you expect LCVs to go from here?
You know, about 12 months ago when we were talking about M&HCV, we said that with every passing year, the base is becoming higher. When we grew in 14-15, it was on a low base. But the growth continued in 15-16. And it looks like in April, May, June also we are seeing growth. I think the 30 would be probably pushing it too much. The thing which is a bit uncertain is how much pre-buying might take place towards the end of the year. But structurally from the economic standpoint, and though things are looking good, I don't think 30 is really doable. on a high base. The base of last year is just short of the previous peak of 2011-12. So on such a base, clearly we will see a new peak this year. But it could be somewhere in the region of 15 to 20. But if there is a lot of incentive for buying towards the end of the year, it could be even higher. The other segments are also seeing growth now. I think till the middle of last year we were saying it's all M&HCV and hence not clear whether it is sustainable. But towards the end of last second half, as CR pointed out, the growth on buses and LCVs also started. So there we definitely have a low base effect, and on that low base effect also we should see at least a double-digit growth.
Benny, you had a question.
Which are the models that is being recalled in the US? JLR models.
Models exported to the sold in US.
We are just starting, and by the way, that's really a novum. We are just right now, this month, still this month.
Which are the models impacted?
We are starting the new XE, and that's another rollout of our new vehicles on an aluminium basis. And so we have a very nice volume growth in the US. So we are the vehicles are in high demand. The order bank is high.
No.
I mentioned.
Benny, were you mentioning models affected?
Yeah, the affected models.
That's as I mentioned earlier, that will be the outgoing XF. So it's already out of the market.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.